Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. My name is George Herrera with the Queens Home Team at Keller Williams Realty. In today's video, I wanted to cover first-time homebuyer tips, specifically for Queens, New York. But these are general first-time homebuyer tips, but I'll try to relate them as much as I can to Queens and New York City in general. I got this article from one of our friends over at Cross Country Mortgage, and he sent us this article with first-time homebuyer tips, and I thought this might be a good video to shoot for anyone who is right now in the market or thinking of buying in the future. So here we go. First-time homebuyer tips. These are some of the bullet points in the article, and then I'll give you some of my insight. So the first thing it says, clean up your credit. Definitely should be cleaning up your credit. You want to make sure you pull your credit report and check your credit and any derogatory items. If you have any, you definitely want to address all those. So you want to have it clean and take care of any outstanding collections, anything you can do to clean up any derogatory items are definitely advisable. Then it says know your credit score. You definitely want to know your credit score because certain programs exist for certain credit scores, and you get better rates the higher your score is. But even if you have a lower credit score, there are programs where you can qualify still for a loan, even with let's say an average or a not so good credit score. But you definitely want to know what your credit score is and then work on getting it up. Now, as I go through these tips, there's two types of first-time home buyers. There's going to be first-time home buyers that are in the market right now, actually already pre-approved, already in the market, already out there hunting for properties. And then you have the aspiring first-time home buyer, which you might be 1 year out, 2 year out, 5 years out. You might be years out before you're actually ready to buy. But either way, these are good things to do. When my wife and I bought our first property, we started planning 2 or 3 years before, but getting ready and getting on the path to home ownership. Before we actually even got pre-approved and were ready to buy, we started 2 or 3 years before. So these are great things to start doing now if you have aspirations of buying a property. So cleaning up your credit, know your credit score, check your credit report. You should do this every January. Do it in the beginning of every year. Get your credit report. Look at the whole thing. Make sure that it's accurate. Make sure that there's nothing on there that shouldn't be. And if there is, dispute it. And if you have any derogatory items, definitely make sure that any outstanding balances, pay them off so that at least they show as settled. And then hopefully that will help bring your credit score up. So check your credit report. Learn mortgage terminology. This one I think is more so for the first-time home buyers that are in the market. You know, once you start getting in the market, it is helpful to start learning and understanding a lot of the mortgage and real estate lingo that you're going to hear. If you're years out, if you're just in the beginning stages, the planning phase, then mortgage terminology might not be that important. But when you speak to a lender, you will start to learn some of this stuff. So next thing is establish a home buying budget. So if you're already in the market, if you're already getting ready to be pre-approved, then I'm sure you've been doing this already. If not, then you do want to start getting an idea of what those monthly expenses might be. Because if you're thinking of buying a property one day, you have to remember, you're going to have your monthly bills, whatever monthly bills you have. You're going to have utilities that you pay. If you're renting, you're paying utilities now. In addition, if you buy a residential property or a condo, you're going to have property taxes. Once you get your loan, you most likely will have homeowners insurance, which you'll have to be paying the insurance. You might have common charges, maintenance, or HOA fees, so you want to factor those in. But you just want to get an idea of, based on your income, your household income, you know, what you would actually be comfortable with paying monthly. And that gives you an idea of what type of property you would be looking for right now. And then if you're thinking of 2 years out, 3 years out, it can give you an idea of maybe what you should aim for in terms of lowering your monthly expenses or raising your income over the next few years so that it's comfortable for you at the time when you're ready to buy. You can also use a home affordability calculator. They had one in the article to try to get an idea there. The one thing I would say is like a piece of advice, and we did this before we bought, is that ideally you'll have no loans, no car payments. If you have a business, potentially you could have your car under your business so that it isn't in your personal credit report. If you have a car, then if you can have it paid off, then that's even better because you have no car payment at all. Also, any student loans, having those paid off is great. Just reducing as many debts as possible will help you big time, because for the next tip where it talks about calculate your debt to income ratio, if you have no debts, then it makes your debt to income ratio lower, which makes you more attractive and allows you to qualify for a higher loan amount. So calculate your debt to income ratio, also known as DTI, and that's just pretty much it's a percentage. What percentage of your total gross income goes to your monthly expenses? So all of your monthly recurring debts, and then when you buy a property, it's going to be your principal, interest, taxes, insurance. All of that goes into your debt to income ratio, and it becomes a percentage. The lower the percentage, the better. And the way you have a lower percentage is if you have no debts at all, very little credit card debt or no credit card debt, no student loans, no other real estate or mortgages that you have, no other installment loans, no other car payments or anything like that. So if you have just very minimal or no recurring debts, then it makes your debt to income ratio much cleaner, much lower, which makes it more attractive for the lender. So definitely I would advise everything you can do to pay off any debts that you have, pay off everything you can before you buy or before you get pre-approved, so you can get qualified for, the best programs and the highest loan amount possible. And then once you close, if you can afford it, you can buy a car then or something. But when you're in preparation, it is good to have as little to no debt as possible. Now, the next thing it says is get pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. If you're in the market or thinking of buying now, let's say like this year, then you might have already sat with a lender to get pre-approved. If not, then you should get pre-approved. Pre-qualification is usually just verbal, where they're just asking you some information about your income, what are your credit debts, what's your credit score. It's all verbal though, so you're getting a pre-qualification, but it's not an in-depth review of your financials and your full credit history. So a pre-qualification is not as good as a pre-approval. And I always tell people, if you have the down payment saved, you have good employment history, you have good credit, or you have a minimum credit to meet the qualifications for any of the mortgage programs, it doesn't hurt to get pre-approved, or at least sit with a lender and say, I'd like to get pre-approved. This is how much we have to put down. This is my income. This is my credit. And let them do a full pre-approval for you, because even if you don't get pre-approved, at least they'll be able to tell you what you need to do in order to get pre-approved in the future. And if you do get pre-approved, but the loan amount is lower than what you'd like, then at least you can speak with the lender. You can consult with them to see, what do I need to do so that I can get approved for a higher loan amount, which will let you go for the properties that you want in a higher price point, let's say, and they can tell you what you have to do. Either way, it doesn't hurt to sit with a lender, because once you go through that pre-approval process, if it doesn't work out right now, they can tell you what you have to do so that in 1 year, 2 year, 3 years from now, you're ready and armed to buy the property that you'd like to buy. So get pre-approved, not just pre-qualified. Choose an agent carefully. Yes, if you're buying for the first time, especially in New York City, you want to have a good buyer's agent, and you want to have a good agent that knows how to do a lot of due diligence on properties, because these are old homes. Sometimes they're sold with violations. Sometimes they have open liens, all kinds of things and issues that they can have, open permits, illegal extensions. So you want to have an agent that understands all these things and can help you do due diligence on a property to make sure you don't run into any issues. And they'll also negotiate on your behalf and help you find the right place. So definitely finding a good agent and choosing the right real estate agent. Obviously, if you ever, once you're ready to buy, or if you're in the market now and you want a good buyer's agent in Queens, then you can reach out to us at queenshometeam.com. We have team members that specialize in different areas of the borough. Next thing it says here is don't make financial changes during the loan process. That's for sure, and that's most likely for people, that's more for people that are in the market now. If you're in the market, once you go into contract, do not change anything with your finances. Don't go start buying furniture. Don't buy a car. You know, anything that will affect your debt to income ratio and your credit is a no-no. You definitely don't want to do that. If you're in the prepping phase or the planning phase of getting ready, again, it just goes into that whole notion of just try your best to get your debts as low as possible. Try to eliminate everything you can, because you'll look really clean on paper when you go for a pre-approval. If you have no debts, you'll look super clean. And if you have very little debts, then that also looks very good, and get your credit score as high as possible. And then final thoughts that it says here, which is definitely true. If you're feeling overwhelmed when you start thinking about the process of buying or the possibility of buying a property in Queens or in New York City, or if you're ready to start the mortgage process, then definitely you can reach out to us. You can reach us through our website, queenshometeam.com, but it never hurts. That's like anyone I tell, even for some of our team members that are younger, that aspire to buy a property, you know, these things, I think you should be planning for these things several years in advance. So if you already have been working for a while, you started saving, it doesn't hurt to start talking to a lender or an agent, but mainly a lender, because you want to let them know what your finances look like right now, what you'd like to buy, what you can get pre-approved for. And then once you have that, now you can either get out there in the market and start looking for properties, or if the approval amount isn't what you'd like it to be, now you talk with your lender to see, what do I need to do so that I can raise my approval amount? And that might be lowering debts, raising your credit score. It might be raising your income. So things like that, or bringing in co-purchasers. But there's a lot of different strategies. Definitely worth talking with a lender. And I'm filming this right now in 2024. They haven't started cutting rates yet. At some point they will. So if you're in the beginning phase, thinking of buying a home down the road, these are things you want to start doing now, so that, you know, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, when rate cutting cycle is in full effect, then you'll be in a good position and ready to get pre-approved and get out there in the market. All right, so if you have any questions related to this, feel free to reach out to us. Again, queenshometeam.com. And if you have any suggestions, comments, or questions, drop them in the comments below. We use that all the time, and it helps us to develop more content in the future and other videos for the channel. All right. Thanks as always for tuning in, y'all. Stay tuned for the next episode. Take care and have a great day.